Welcome to Audit the Audit, where we sort out the who and what and the right and wrong of police interactions. This episode covers speeding laws, distracted driving, and officer-involved accidents, and is brought to us by Cleveland Area Body Cameras channel. Be sure to check out the description below and give them the credit that they deserve. On May 22, 2021, Officer Daniel Waters of the Brunswick Police Department was driving behind Navy veteran Alexander Kopiec on State Route 303 in Brunswick, Ohio. When Mr. Kopiec stopped to avoid hitting a family of geese crossing the road, Officer Waters failed to stop his vehicle in time and rear-ended Mr. Kopiec's vehicle.
Yeah, are you okay?
Yeah, I'm okay. I was slowing down. There was a bunch of things in the road. I didn't want him to get in.
Yeah, I just saw you.
Oh, man.
All right. Looks like I hit your tire.
You guys all good?
Yeah.
We're good. Thanks, man.
Looks like I hit your tire with my bumper.
Think so.
All right. All right, let's pull off and
Pulling in the parking lot?
yeah, let's check everything out.
Right.
Thanks, sir. All right. You are okay though?
Yeah.
All right, good.
I'll be damned, man.
These things on here are awesome.
No.
I think it was a combination. Let me call my sergeant real quick.
Yeah.
Hey, it's 23. Is Sergeant Cal available? I know they're doing roll call right now. Looks like it's just that. And yeah.
Officer Waters and Mr. Kopiec inspect the damage to their vehicles and find that the accident caused more damage to the police cruiser than Mr. Kopiec's vehicle. Regardless of the damage sustained by the vehicles, in most situations, the second driver in a rear-end collision will be found to be at fault for the accident. According to Section 4511.34 of the Ohio Revised Code, quote, "The operator of a motor vehicle shall not follow another vehicle more closely than is reasonable and prudent, having due regard for the speed of such vehicle and the traffic upon and the condition of the highway." Similarly, Section 4511.21 of the Ohio Revised Code and Brunswick City Ordinance 434.03a both state that, quote, "No person shall operate a motor vehicle at a speed greater or less than is reasonable or proper, having due regard to the traffic, surface, and width of the street or highway and any other conditions. And no person shall drive any motor vehicle in and upon any street or highway at a greater speed than will permit the person to bring it to a stop within the assured clear distance ahead." Generally, if a rear-end collision results from the second driver violating either of these statutes or engaging in other negligent behavior, such as distracted driving, the second driver will be found at fault for the accident. However, the first driver may be at fault for a rear-end collision if they engage in negligent or reckless driving behaviors, such as suddenly stopping or reversing, driving with non-functional brake lights, or driving under the influence of drugs or alcohol. There may also be situations where both parties are found to be at fault for an accident. Under Ohio's contributory fault law, which is codified in Section 2315.33 of the Ohio Revised Code, a percentage of fault will be assigned to each driver, and a driver can only recover monetary damages in a lawsuit if they were less than 50% responsible for the accident. When a driver is partially at fault for an accident, the amount of compensation they can receive will be reduced in proportion to their own fault. In this rear-end collision, it is clear that Officer Waters was at least mostly at fault for the accident. Although Mr. Kopiec did stop quickly, Officer Waters would likely have had plenty of time to stop his vehicle if he was paying more attention to the road or driving at a slower speed. Therefore, even if Mr. Kopiec was partially responsible for the accident, a court would likely conclude he was far less than 50% responsible and would be able to collect damages in a lawsuit.
Hey, Sergeant Cal. Just involved in a small fender bender on 303. We're pulled off into the clinic.
Well, it definitely looks like it's depressed a bit because the tire's normally vertical. But as far as like...
Nothing structural. Let me
I
get
think
some.
the only thing that I can see just by looking at it is like the frame here that's holding it kind of cracked.
Okay.
So it'd need a new one, but I think the back door is okay. I wouldn't know for sure.
Yeah, I'm not a mechanic either, so
No.
I can't say for sure.
Yo, did this thing do more damage to your car than you did to mine?
That's what it looks like. These things are designed to be crumpled.
Yeah.
So in the front.
That makes sense. Well, I don't know what to do now.
Well, I'm already here, so.
Well,
I mean,
that's true.
So he was stopped in traffic because there were some geese. I was checking something on my MBT, which I know we're not supposed to, and looked up. He was braking. I hit my brakes and rear-ended him. He's not injured. The damage looks to be to the mounting bracket on his tire, but the door seems like it's okay. We're not sure. I took some pictures.
Okay.
And then up here, moved the push bar and dented the hood.
Officer Waters admits that he hit Mr. Kopiak's vehicle because he was using his MDT while driving. An MDT, or Mobile Data Terminal, is a cruiser-mounted portable tablet or laptop-style computer used by law enforcement officers to securely communicate with dispatch and access records, systems, or other available information. Section 4511.204 of the Ohio Revised Code states that, quote, "No person shall drive a motor vehicle on any street, highway, or property open to the public for vehicular traffic while using a handheld electronic wireless communications device to write, send, or read a text-based communication." The statute goes on to define electronic wireless communications devices as including wireless telephones, text messaging devices, personal digital assistants, computers, including laptop computers and computer tablets, and, quote, "any other substantially similar wireless device that is designed or used to communicate text." While the case law interpreting the statute is incredibly limited, it seems that an MDT would fall under the definition of an electronic wireless communication device, although it should be noted that the statute explicitly states that it does not apply to, quote, "a person operating a commercial truck while using a mobile data terminal that transmits and receives data." Nonetheless, the statute does not create an exception for police officers using an MDT, and if Officer Waters was using his MDT to write, send, or read a text-based communication, a court could determine that he violated this statute. In addition to prohibiting the use of wireless communications devices, Ohio law also allows for a harsher penalty when certain traffic offenses are committed because the driver was distracted. According to section 4511.991 of the Ohio Revised Code, being distracted while operating a vehicle means using a handheld electronic wireless communications device, with certain exceptions, or, quote, "engaging in any activity that is not necessary to the operation of a vehicle and impairs, or reasonably would be expected to impair, the ability of the operator to drive the vehicle safely." If an individual violates certain traffic laws while distracted, and the distracting activity is a, quote, "contributing factor to the commission of the violation," the driver may be subject to an additional fine of not more than $100. Here, although Officer Waters was not using a handheld electronic device, it is possible that a court could conclude that using his MDT constituted distracted driving under the second part of this statute.
We got his info.
Yep.
You're okay?
Yes, sir.
Can you get your seatbelt on?
Yes.
Oh, where was that? Somewhere here?
Right in front of Arby's.
Oh, you guys were coming?
Yeah, I was heading west.
Okay. All right, we got all the information from him.
Mm-hmm.
We got his, you run his driver's license?
Yeah.
Dispatch has it?
No. I just called in to you. I didn't call it out as a code 2 because I wasn't sure how to call it out.
Officer Waters informed Sergeant Cal that he did not call the accident into dispatch because he was not sure of the procedure for doing so in this situation. While officer-involved traffic accidents are rare, they are still more common than most citizens might believe. According to the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, motor vehicle-related incidents are one of the leading causes of line-of-duty law enforcement officer deaths. Between 2011 and 2020, 454 officers died in motor vehicle-related accidents, including crashes and being hit by a vehicle while on foot, which constituted 1/3 of all line-of-duty deaths. Of the 1,387 officer line-of-duty deaths during this period, 286 officers were killed in vehicle crashes, and 114 were killed after being struck by a vehicle. The CDC identifies certain behavior-related hazards that put officers at risk of a crash on the job, including not wearing a seatbelt, speeding, particularly through intersections, being distracted while using a mobile data terminal or other in-care electronics, like Officer Waters was here, and experiencing tunnel vision from increased stress. According to a Columbus, Ohio news station's 2021 analysis of data from the Ohio Department of Public Safety, more than 16,000 emergency response vehicles had been involved in crashes in the 5 previous years in Ohio alone, and 70% of those cases involved police cars. Despite the prevalence of officer-involved crashes, Ohio's broad municipal immunity laws often leave the civilian drivers involved in these accidents without compensation. Under Section 2744.02 of the Ohio Revised Code, quote, political subdivisions are liable for injury, death, or loss to person or property caused by the negligent operation of any motor vehicle by their employees when the employees are engaged within the scope of their employment and authority. However, the statute also creates so-called full defenses to liability that grant immunity to the city in various situations, including when, quote, a member of a municipal corporation police department or any other police agency was operating a motor vehicle while responding to an emergency call, and the operation of the vehicle did not constitute willful or wanton misconduct. Section 2744.01 of the Ohio Revised Code defines an emergency call as, quote, a call to duty, including but not limited to communications from citizens, police dispatches, and personal observations by peace officers of inherently dangerous situations that demand an immediate response on the part of a peace officer. Because of the wide range of situations that would fit this definition of an emergency call, the Columbus News State found that in reviewing 108 claims filed with City Attorney Zach Klein's office since 2018, the city claimed immunity and denied payment in 60% of the cases. In this situation, because Officer Waters did not appear to be responding to an emergency call, a court would likely conclude that the city would be liable for any injuries Mr. Kopiak sustained and any damage to his vehicle.
You got your driver's license, partner? What about his insurance info?
Insurance information, driver's license I got.
Are you the registered owner?
Yes.
Okay. Alright, here's your driver's license back. Let me see this, make sure we got everything. Now here's the report number. It won't be done until probably Monday. The traffic sergeant approves it. I just call your insurance company and say, hey, I was in an accident. Here's the report number, Brunswick PD, here's the date, and they should get a hold of us, and so we can email it to them, fax it to them, however they want to do it, and they'll get the report and take care of the vehicle or whatever you need that way. So,
Okay.
All right, man, if you're good, sorry, I'll slap him around later on your behalf. But
Thanks for being on the scene so quick. I appreciate it.
yeah, well, I would have been here quicker, but we had roll call right at 6 o'clock.
Oh no, I'm just messing.
But there's nothing else you need, man. You're all set. You a Navy guy?
Yes, sir.
Appreciate your service.
Thank you. Hey, you as well.
Thank you. Well, here's your punishment. You get to go do the OH1.
Well, probably deserve more than that, but
Well, you probably take it. So.
After the accident, Sergeant Cal filed a police report regarding the accident, noting that Officer Waters rear-ended Mr. Kopiak because he was distracted by, quote, other activity with an electronic device. Officer Waters was also cited for a violation of Brunswick City Ordinance 434.03a, and on June 8, 2021, he pled guilty and paid a $190 fine. On February 7, 2022, another accident report shows that Officer Waters was involved in another rear-end collision when driving a police vehicle on the same road. He was once again cited under Ordinance 434.03a, and on February 23, 2022, he again pled guilty and paid another $190 fine. Overall, Officer Waters gets a B, because although he caused an accident by driving recklessly, he immediately owned up to his mistake, reported the situation to his sergeant, and maintained a professional and apologetic demeanor throughout the encounter. I commend Officer Waters for having the integrity to report the accident and admit to fault, and not attempting to place the blame on Mr. Kopiak in any way. However, the fact that Officer Waters was involved in another rear-end collision in a police cruiser less than a year later is concerning, and I would encourage him to drive more responsibly before he injures someone else or himself in yet another accident. Sergeant Cal gets an A+ for responding personally to the call, completing an objective accident report on the incident, and allowing Officer Waters to be cited for his negligent driving instead of showing him any sort of favoritism. Although it is unclear whether Sergeant Cal issued the citation himself, he did not take any steps to protect Officer Waters from the consequences of his actions or cover up the situation. While this type of integrity should be expected of public officials, they unfortunately do do not always behave with this level of honesty, and I encourage all law enforcement officers to learn from Sergeant Cowell's example. Mr. Kopiec also gets an A+ for maintaining a respectful and understanding demeanor throughout the interaction, complying with both officers' requests, and keeping a cool head in an abnormal police encounter where the officer was the one who made the mistake. Car accidents are always stressful, but when a police officer is involved and at fault, they become even more challenging to navigate. I commend Mr. Kopiec for being able to control his emotions and behave respectfully in this unusual situation, and for understanding that police officers, just like the rest of us, are only human. Let us know if there's an interaction or legal topic you would like us to discuss in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to check out my second channel for even more police interaction content.